Hey guys, welcome to the Richest Real Estate Agent Podcast, where there's way better metrics in life to measuring rich than just GCI. We're going to talk to the top influencers in real estate and top influencers in the mindset space. We're going to break down the emotional intelligence needed to be successful as an agent and stay there for 20 years. Welcome to the show. Let's get at it. Hey guys, welcome to the show. We have Randy Dyck. He's a friend of mine. We've spent the last few years in and out of each other's lives. I feel blessed to have him on the show and that you guys get to know Randy the way I know Randy. And thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me, Ben.
It's great. We're putting some miles behind us now, Randy. We're spending some time together, and the Richest Real Estate Agent Podcast. You're one of the first guys I thought of, and I thought, you know what, you love the R.O.L. That's what you're branding out, Return on Life, and I'm branding the Build a Life You Love, and how do you get a business to serve that is kind of the pioneering message in this beautiful real estate industry that eats people alive. I'd love to hear what do you know, people need credibility. They need to know who you are. I know you don't like to brag, but I wouldn't mind you throwing around some numbers and maybe give a little sense of who you are. You're the real deal. And we'll get into the personal side for sure. But why don't we start with a little practical, who you are, where are you at, what level do you play at?
Okay, well, gosh, it's almost 30 years in the business for me. I started in 1992, so I'm just a young guy. And I started as a single agent way back in a small boutique called Clearbrook Realty. Loved it. Was fortunate enough to be Rookie of the Year. And then I became the top agent in that office. And I thought I was a pretty big deal. I was number one, but I was playing in a very, very small pond. So I was the big fish in a small pond. And loved that office so much that I thought, hey, I should be a business owner. I should actually own this brokerage. So I bought into the brokerage, and it wasn't 6 months in, I was going, what the hell did I just do? Because babysitting adults and doing commission deals to keep the lights on for everybody else was not very much fun. So ran that for a little while, and then I said, I'm out of here. And I took that brokerage and I walked it down the street to a local RE/MAX office, and I sold the brokerage to the RE/MAX office. And then I hung my license there from 2000 till 2018. And that's where I started to learn about teams and what teams could do and how I could help others. But more importantly, first of all, I was thinking, how could I help myself? And so I started building a team in the early 2000s, and we had great success as a team. We were cranking north of 400 ends a year with 4 agents, so super productive. And the culture that we created at that time was just, it was almost like lightning in a bottle. And to be honest, I didn't know what I had because it just happened organically and it happened quickly, and success followed. Fast forward that a few years, and then there's started to be some HR issues happening on the team, and we started losing a couple of good agents and then trying to find and replace those agents. It just wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. And anyways, powered along. The team flexed between 3 agents and 8 agents, and we made it work as best we could. Some years we were down in the numbers in the lower 200s, and then we popped back up. So it was just depending on market cycle, the quality of the agent I had on the team, my leadership abilities at that time. And then in 2017, 2018, I was getting exhausted. I was tired. And I was wondering, what am I getting out of all of these hours and leading people and trying to make something bigger than I could make. I was always thinking bigger, faster, stronger. But it was killing me and it was burning me out. And I was thinking, I've got to find a better way to do this business and a better way to exit this business when I choose to exit. And so I often call myself, I was a broken agent at that point in 2017, 2018. And I was just desperate to find something. Nobody would have known that on the outside, but on the inside, I was screaming. I was just like, I gotta find a better way to do this business because it's killing me. And so along came an option for me, which was EXP, which I moved over in the fall of 2018. And there's been a number of things that have been catalysts in changing the way I do everything. And frankly, Ben, you're one of those reasons. Um, but today we're a really strong team. I've never had better culture on my team, and we're in that neighborhood of 250, 275 ends. That's where we finished off this year, and we just have such amazing culture. So,
You
in
really
short,
do.
30 years. Go ahead.
I have to say, Randy, you've asked me to help with your team and work and do some coaching, and I have to say I've worked with a lot of different people and teams, and your team is unreal. Like, and I don't mean to go over the top. I really don't. I have no reason to, but I know each of your agents now, and it's
Mhm.
like these people. It's not about. It's the reflection of how they reflect your Eximus team back to me. Like, it's not like, it's just interesting to see how much they feel so cared for. It's unbelievable. I can't even explain to you. So people that are listening, honestly, like, I think Randy has something in his team that I'm genuinely impressed with. I think there's a lot of good teams out there, but I'm just get the privilege of being inside that team a little bit, and the culture is just, it really does blow me away. And I want to make sure people realize that it's not just Randy saying he's got a good culture. This is me, and I'm working with guys, all over North America, and I just want to say, like, Randy, you've I don't know, a team, in my opinion, is a representation to the head. And so there's something that you've been doing in your own personal life, I think, and in your own life, that you're making changes. And I think that's coming down to the line. Like, you're telling me that your goal setting meetings, you guys are in tears sometimes, which might feel intimidating some people, but just imagine the safety that those agents feel. It's not like you get together and cry. I get it. But there's moments where you're talking about life, and then there's a place for that. It's very impressive. And it's cool because it's actually a case study to doing a real estate team from the inside out versus just doing lead gen and goal setting. Like, there's something more. I know it's a bit long winded, but I just wanted to make sure people know this is real.
Mm. Yeah, I've never had the culture that I have on the team today, and makes me emotional thinking about it. But so much of it is my mindset has changed on a lot of things, and I have to say that you helped me change some of that mind shift, shifted my mind, because it was always about production before. It was always about how do we get more out of every agent, how do we um, beat our production goals, and it shifted about 3 years to how do we get more out of life rather than more out of the ROI of things. How do we get return on life? And that shift in me was contagious to the team. They always saw me as this, very enthusiastic, go-getter, high production, take take no prisoners, get the deals done, let's go. And then I shifted from that to still having that attitude, but hey, we don't have to always do that kind of production. What if we had, life instead? What if we had more of a culture that is about love and hanging out with one another and family? And that then turned over to how do we help our clients? Like, even the way that we started helping our clients shifted to more of what can I do for you than you can do for me. And that Zig Ziglar quote of, help everybody get what they want and you'll get what you want, really manifested itself within our office. And
But I
now,
think it,
go
go ahead,
ahead.
go ahead.
Well, and
Go ahead.
now what I see, we didn't have this kind of culture where agent to agent within our team was helping one another. Today, somebody is in Langley and they reach out to everybody. Hey, I'm in Langley. What can I do for you today in Langley?
Randomly.
Just random. All these
Amazing.
random acts
That's
of
what I'm trying to
kindness.
say.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's funny though, Randy. This is why I feel like I call it the back door to success, because the front door would be, let's take these agents and let's try to get their numbers up. The front door would be like, let's bring in some objective training. Let's bring in some like lead gen training. Let's bring in some like, let's do this. And it's always with the mission of growing their sales, which is a self gain. And so it's using the agent at a very weird level, but it's okay. Like it's business. But when you come at it going, what if, what if they were happy? Like this is so abstract to a logical mind mostly, but what if they show up and what does a contagious energy pay? What does a place of safety pay? And I've been spending a lot of time trying to price out energy. And so an example, I literally just put a post out and it makes me think of it as one lady signed up to the real estate reboot, the reboot camp, and she was going to get a sales trainer, but she had already had a few coaches. And I said, okay, because her lead gen, she was spending money on lead gen, but she couldn't get a conversion rate. So technically you'd be like, well, let's get some training. Let's get some sales training. You got to know the objections. Let's do some role play, same old junk. But I asked her this, I said, I'm a sales trainer. I know sales real well. And I said, that's not going to help you. It'll help you a little bit. It will, I promise you. But I said, and just thinking of like what really moves the needle and the pricing that, like with what you're starting to see, like there's so much value in this weird abstract side. Anyways, I said to her, I said, how do you feel when you have to jump on a call with someone? And she says, well, I feel like it's kind of scared of being rejected. I said, so do you think you got a fear of rejection? Yeah, I definitely do. Okay, cool. So what would happen to your sales if we could get rid of the fear of rejection? She goes, oh, I would double. I said, And then you hear the lights going off and they're like, oh, so you can have incremental growth with objection training, or we could work on the fear. I said, wouldn't you want to just pay and get paid help on just that issue then? And I said, how much money did you make? She goes, 300 grand last year. So you're telling me you can make 600 grand if we could work on your fear of rejection and singly just work on that? She's like, where do I sign up? Because it's like, and so we're starting to price out and you're like seeing it. That's like, but it's difficult to be like happiness in the office, safety in the office. Like it has a ROI, which is crazy because you go after R.O.L and it lifts the ROI. And that's what I'm seeing in like so many people. That's why we're doing this show. This conversation needs to be out there.
Yeah. So strong there. Yeah.
That's great. Randy, I love it. I think I'd like to talk about your journey in real estate a bit. You're in a good place right now, and I think there's a lot of really good things happening. But I think in these kind of things, a successful guy, maybe unrelatable, 300 sales, big team, and 70 to 90% of the people, or maybe even 80 or even 95, aren't even near that. So, but what we can do is if you would share some of the limiting mindset that you had to get through just to level up to the next level yourself. Instead of us talking about the lead gen and you do have great systems, which is actually part of the solution still, business. But I want people to understand that to get there, what does it take to truly get to there? And what mindset was holding you back?
Mindset is so important, as you know. That's what you share about and you speak about and you train on, and you've been helping my team on. But early on in my real estate career, I had success right away. But again, then I was in this very small pond as a big fish, and I got stuck. I just thought, well, I'm stuck at however many deals, and I settled on that. I actually got comfortable at that number, and it took me a while to kind of work through that mindset. And I had to surround myself with the right people, because in that small pond, I was the biggest fish, and I had to find other fish to hang out with, bigger fish. And I'm not even meaning production. I mean, that's where it led. But in life, if you're hanging around people that just don't have a big mind and aren't willing to like be curious and think of what could be the future of whoever and whatever, you're just going to be limited to what you can do. So on the production side of things, I was stuck, and then I went into a bigger pond and I saw people with bigger minds and bigger thinking. And I realized, holy cow, if they can do it, why can't I? And then once I started having that mindset, then it didn't take me very long to realize, well, if I can do that, why can't I do this? And if I can do that, then I can do the next level. So that was really important for me to just be surrounded by the right people to give me a bigger mind and a bigger
New perspective on what's
perspective.
possible, right? Like I get it too.
Yeah,
I feel like some days I'm such a small thinker. But some people think I'm a massive thinker. But you know what? That dichotomy, right? Like you're like,
yeah,
there's always this next level. And when someone says, I want to level up, I think this is leveling up. Is look at the people in your life. That's a
right.
level up. Like it's almost better to level up that way than level up. What does level up even mean? Like
Yeah,
you leveling up with humans around you. But I also think that your energy has to level up to be able to play in that pond.
true.
You either going to look like a sore thumb and it is not going to fit if you're going to stay small minded.
Hmm.
It's like the other day I went out with someone, went to a really fancy restaurant, and I noticed these people are acting rich all of a sudden. I'm like, what just happened? And I smelt it. I was like, hello, hi, thank you very much. I'm just like, what do you, like, I didn't really say anything, but I was like, it, that makes someone that's got a big mind or a lot of wealth uncomfortable. Like it's almost like, what are you doing? And it's like, and I'm not saying I'm got big wealth or a big mind. I'm just saying that there was a difference from where I was from where they're at. And they're looking at it feeling like I've got to be something if I'm going to play in this field. That doesn't last. If you're going to play in a bigger mind, you're going to evolve for real because you're going to be sniffed out instantly. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so it's just interesting even to see that as it's happening. But yeah, like it's almost like, yeah, the big thinking that to surround yourself with real people that are going to, you have to evolve if you're going to play in that game.
Yeah. Something I see a lot of people, a lot of agents struggling with is hiring an assistant. And I know you've spoken about this. And that was a huge, huge struggle for me. I thought nobody can do it as well as I can. I'm afraid because I don't know what I'm going to do with them. What do I tell them? How do I train them? Like all of those things.
Yeah.
And I had a great friend that was killing it in the financial services world. And he came to me and said, Randy, why are you doing all this yourself? You need an assistant. And as simple as that sounds, and as clear as he spoke to me, I did not get it. It took me about another 4 years to hire an assistant, believe it or not. Even though once I hired my first assistant, I mean, my world changed significantly. And for all those, go ahead.
No, I just said it's the ultimate hack.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing that changes. It's the biggest needle mover as a
Yes.
practical business solution, the biggest needle mover.
Right.
That first assistant, you're like, geez, what am I doing?
So the only way I could convince myself of hiring an assistant is I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I want 30% of my time back. So I want to work 30% less. I want to make 30% more income. And I don't want to do the things I don't like to do and I don't or that I'm not good at. Well, that assistant within 6 months made me so darn good because now I could just be with people making deals. I got 30% more time back. I doubled my income, and my life was so much better. I enjoyed my family so much more. I had free time, and I was doing the things I love to do in real estate. And then the byproduct of that was, oh my goodness, she's loaded me up so much. My assistant helped me get so good at what I did that I now lost my time again, though. And then I, up my game again. But this is where I started hiring a team. So that was when I said, I need a buyer's agent or another agent on my team. And that was my first buyer's agent that I hired because of that. And from there, it just kept growing and growing and growing. And then, of course, you get plateaus along the way and you miss things. But everybody out there, you must hire an assistant and then make some goals of what you want. How much time back do you want in your life? Don't make it about the money. Make it about the time first,
100%.
and then the money will come.
It's funny, Randy. I think about people listening to you talk, and just how many agents will be like, yeah, and then not do anything. It's funny because they don't. So here's why. It's the right answer, and what I'm running into is that they actually don't know what to do with that extra time. And this is
Mm,
what's interesting. And so, in the course we do set your compass is it's a mandatory first session, and it's what do you want out of your life? Like what makes you happy? Like it's not even a real estate training. It's to really get clear on what are you setting aside in your life that you feel like that you can't do. Like really digging in and really going through the self-reflective journey of what you want. And how many people say I want 50 deals? I said, okay, that's awesome. What are you going to spend the money on? And they have no clue. And so what that means is they're chasing a goal that's not even real. And when you're chasing a goal that's not genuinely your goal, it just sounds like a great goal, you'll never make it.
right.
And if you do, it's even worse because you have to level it up. You got to level up the goal. And so now you're 60 deals. You know how it is. Okay, you did 50 this year. Randy, can you do 60 next year? Same thing every year, right? And it's because people don't know what they want. And I think if people spent more time knowing what they want, then I think that they would actually be able to get what they want faster and clearer because they just wouldn't be running around wondering what to do. And I'll give an example. Carson Byer is one of the top agents in Edmonton, and he calls me because I need an assistant, and I've got two, and I heard you're good at helping people with that. And I said, okay. I said, cool. I said, my question is this though. I can help you get another assistant, but I said, you're going to fill the capacity. And you'll have the same problem with more money that you have today, which is you have no life. And it was almost like this, and it's like, yeah, let's and so we transformed everything. It was actually an issue with his marriage. It was actually an issue at home, and there's different things going on that had to be figured out. But hiring an assistant created more capacity, like you discovered, because then it's like, well, what am I doing this for? I got no time again. And once you're at like 800,000, even 400, 500 and 400 are very similar. 300 and 350, like I don't, and I just like, you don't know that when you don't have that. So it's hard to say, no, no, it's way different. 400, 300, but 50 to 150 is pretty significant jump. 100, 150 to 250, but anything after that, 350 maybe, then it gets very similar. Then you're just looking to put money somewhere. So, and that's people don't know that, but yeah, you hire, fill capacity. If you don't know what you want, then I think that's where people get into the rut.
Yeah. Ego and standards, I think sometimes really conflict one another. And so a lot of my life, I've always had a standard. Okay, this is the standard, the minimum that I'm going to do, or the minimum that an agent on my team's going to do. But it's being driven by your ego. And ego's good. I mean, we need ego because ego helps us be who we are and get things done, and gives us bravado to be a bit of a peacock in a room when we need to be a peacock in a room. But it can also harm us. And I always say that you know um, I think people would say, Randy, you don't have a giant ego. You can get through most doors, but I do have a pretty big ego, and I hold it down. But it's driven me to sometimes make a lot of mistakes in life, and you wouldn't see them on the outside, but they're mistakes with family, they're mistakes with friends. And so those are some of the negative byproducts of being really successful is you hurt some people around you. Your ego pushes people away, or your standards cause you to work more than you should. And I'll be frank, I don't have a lot of close friends. And it's because I was so driven and had these high standards at the office, and I didn't set the same standards in my personal life. Now, everything, and this is basically my world. I would pour all my energy into my business and my family, and everything else got just pushed away. And now seeing that, I know after years and years of living that high octane, go fast, I'm now realizing, and that's what's really come full circle for me in the last few years, which is also, when I come back to the team sees me as a different person. A lot of the people on the team are just in the last 3 years, but Jeremy Jordan, which have been with me, Jeremy's almost 15 years with me, so he's seen
Yeah.
the other Randy, and the
Yeah.
other Randy was so driven and set high expectations for himself that he downloaded that on everybody around him.
Same thing, right?
And they they um, they appreciated me. They gave me recognition. They respected me for that. But I was also like, this crazy superhero force that was pushing people away as well.
Yeah.
And so I've
Oh,
learned a lot in the last few years.
I think we relate. Because you're on a mission, and the problem with being so driven is that you miss things, and it's always with the people, and it's like, man, I know that, man. My wife almost broke up because of this, because I was so driven, and she goes, I'm so sick of following you around. She goes, I can't keep doing this anymore, and it was what helped me wake up, realized I've already won the game, and I'm acting as if it's overtime every day. And it's something I always remember. Like, and I realized there was a time where my kids were like, we want a new dad. We get a new dad. Like, holy crap. And if you think about it, the only thing I want is my wife and kids, and to live a life that I'm happy. Like, it's the only thing you really want. And it's like we had everything, like a whole whack of real estate rentals. We got making lots of money and all this. And my wife's like, yeah, I'm out. All of a sudden, nothing mattered. I had to work on my relationship. And I realized that was when I realized I won the game already. And I went, oh, I already won. So then it's just different. It's just like, I could die. I'm done. Like, I don't have that. It's a weird thing, Randy. And it's cool to have this conversation, especially in a real estate show, because it doesn't happen. And it's really cool because when you're in that position where you feel like, you know what, I've already got a lot of everything I want. It's more of a playful life, more of a challenge. You like climbing a mountain for fun, not because you need to in business, right? It's not like I don't need to be the top influencer in the real estate world. I don't even care. Like, and it changes to really helping and practical help and building something of meaning and special. Culture matters all of a sudden. Things that you go to bed at night, you're like, okay, that was cool. And who do I not want to be around? Who do I want to be around? What am I bringing home in the evening? Different conversations happen
Yeah.
when you go. So I relate to that, and I really appreciate you sharing that, Randy. It's really cool. I think a lot of people need to hear this kind of conversation, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy when you're in it.
Hey guys, Ben here, real quick. realestaterebootcamp.com. This is where we're helping real estate agents who are busy, who are maybe getting a little disconnected from their family and the life that they wanted to live before they got their license. They need systems and they need to get their business to serve them versus getting trapped in their business. They need systems, they need help. Jump on a call with me, realestaterebootcamp.com. Cheers. Back to the show.
It's not easy when you're going through it, but once you cross over the other side, it's like nirvana. It's like, whoa, what was I missing, right?
100%, man. 100%. And I think that we share that a bit when it comes down to understanding, once you've overcome something or at least got more enlightened around it, is that you want to give that to people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, do you feel that way?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And this isn't my definition of leadership, but I think it really fits who you and I are. And leadership, you don't define leadership and say, well, this is what I'm going to be. At the end of the day, when your life's over, that's when you look back and say, hey, what kind of leadership, what kind of a leader was I? And I think you can judge that or evaluate that on what kind of legacy is left behind and how much did people get to leverage from you. See, in business, we're always taught to leverage everybody else. But what kind of leverage are the agents on my team getting out of me? And am I giving them legacy, their own legacy? If that's happening, oh gosh, then I've done something right as far as leadership.
Yeah. And what's cool is that I love that we set the show up in a sense, not meaning to, but just understand that your team is quite special. Like, it means something, like you're your own case study, Randy, because you understand that they are emotionally invested into the team. So how do you it's a really interesting conversation if we sat with a bunch of team leads and be like, how do you emotionally get invested with your team? Because emotionally invested, you stick together. Like you just do. Like if let's say me and you were let's say we didn't know each other and we ended up being in a bus accident and we rolled down a canyon. We have to get our way out. We've spent a week and we had to just, me and you have to band together. We're at our ugliest and we're making it through and we get that. I think through a battle or a journey or like, and I'm not saying it has to be negative, but just the example of what would we be? We would just forever be, well, we either want to kill each other or be best friends, one of the two. But I'm just saying the emotional connection that happens. And that means you, as a leader, I think as team leads, we got to go journey with them. You got to take on that journey with them. Like sometimes it's not a real estate conversation. Maybe it's not. Maybe like, how can we be there for them for real? And I'm not talking about pushover. I'm not talking about like me. I'm talking about genuinely just being there for these people, and you can still have expectations, but it changes when you actually have that emotional connection. It doesn't feel like expectations anymore. And they want to lift the expectations. It's passive versus aggressive,
Yeah, absolutely. At our last planning session, which we did about 3 weeks ago now, we have the word board. What's our word of the year? And love came up a couple times. Like, who's had love?
You had a real
estate team before.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool to hear the word love, because that's just not traditional in a traditional real estate team. So that was pretty cool.
So Randy, you like windsurfing, right? Tell me about that. Kite surfing.
Yeah. So I was on a Caribbean holiday with my wife. By the way, this is really important. I need to share this with the listener. You, as an agent, you need to plan all your holidays January 1st. Like, do it over the Christmas holidays and plan all your holidays with your family. And then you put them on the calendar and nothing takes place of that. So one thing that my wife and I, Jolene and I do, and this came from friends of ours, they said, every year you have to go away without your kids. Call it the honeymoon vacation every year. So we're now married 34 years, and we do that every year in November. The end of November, beginning of December, we go on our honeymoon every year. And that has been golden. Like, it's just priceless. And so I think that's really important that the listener hears that. Make sure you book all those times with the most important people in your life before the schedule's, built out for business. But anyways, we're on one of those Caribbean honeymoons, and I saw these guys out in the water kite surfing. I thought, oh my goodness, this is just so fun. They're ripping across the water doing 30 miles an hour.
So just to understand, it's like a wakeboard, like it's like a surfboard, and it's a kite, looks like a mini parachute, and you're holding these handles. Is that correct?
And it's bolted to your waist, like you're locked and loaded. So there's a lot of things that could go wrong. In fact, a lot of the pieces of what you're strapped to are things like the oh shit line, the donkey dick. Like, these are all bad things, and they're all named bad things because things go bad. And that's what I love. I mean, I'm a risk taker. And like, I was just skiing up at Whistler on the weekend with my twin brother. I'm a twin, and he's got on his watch, how fast he's going and this and that. So we're like doing almost 60 miles an hour on the weekend on the skis. That's just who I am.
Crazy.
And that's what I love about this sport of kite surfing. It's like a wakeboard. And you got this great big kite in the sky, which is your motorboat essentially. But there's nobody driving it except you. And so if you kind of lose your way in running this kite, it can get kind of crazy. But the coolest thing about kite surfing is you can jump from flat water just with the physics of it. And, my highest jumps almost 30 feet from flat water. And like,
how many stories is that? Would that be 3 stories? Yeah.
I've broken a few bones.
That's awesome.
I have a bone count. I ask people sometimes, you have your your fun icebreakers. I say, so what's your bone count? And they go,
That is a good
what do
one.
you mean? Well, how many
I
bones have you
love that.
broken? So I'm at 19 now.
19 bones.
Yeah.
Jeez. That's crazy. I got in a fight with my cousin once. He broke my nose. That's as far as I've got. I'm solid. That's crazy. That's amazing, Randy. That's crazy. So uh, did your wife kite surf, or is she like you, or what's the story there?
She's my rescue. She's on the beach watching, and she's whistling some guy to go pick me up because I've crashed or broken
That's
something or
awesome.
whatever. Yeah.
That's awesome. So looking at the industry, Randy, what needs to change?
Ooh, that's a big question. That's a
Yeah.
loaded question. Um,
How about this? Let me change this. What mindset needs to change?
hmm. Well, I think I can come at it from two ways. I can come at it from a practical side as well as the mindset.
Yeah.
And and what causes the mindset of that average agent that is always struggling to make it, always trying to find the silver bullet, the next thing to make it work, can't quite get through it, struggles in their business. A lot of it is just because we have way too many agents in the marketplace. So what would it be
Interesting.
like if it was like the PGA or the NHL, where there's only so many players that get to be called up into the bigs?
That I like that, Randy.
And so imagine this: the broker owner had to pay us a salary and a smaller commission. Well, the consumer wins because there's a smaller commission. The agent wins because there's always enough business to go around, and the broker only has the best agents in the office. So your culture and your approach to everything is just different because you're not working with this group of agents that 50% don't do a deal every at all in the year. The average is only 6 deals per agent around North America. I think that would be interesting. I think the whole mindset and the professionalism would really be raised. There'd be a new standard, so to speak.
It would be an easier business as for brokers because you'd have 40 or 50 agents that are crushing.
Yes.
And then you'd have production and you'd have more commission and they would have more business. I think that's a tough one to change, but I think
Well,
I think it's really cool though. I like it.
yeah. I'm not sure if it'll ever change, but imagine that, because you'd have actually working hours. It wouldn't be 24/7. Like, an agent says I'm available 24/7. Well, like, if we controlled it in a way that was more professional, like a doctor, a lawyer, a
Lawyer's office.
financial planner, we'd have more, regular hours, a higher level of professionalism. I think that would all come together. However, why can't we do it in the environment we're in, which is really what we're trying to create now? And I think Eximus has a lot of that happening in it right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. No, that's cool. And so let me think here for a second. Why are we at where we're at then? So if that was the right way, which is just a neat an opinion right now, but it's really neat, is what let's imagine that is the way. That means that we have too many agents. People are paying too much money. There's so what would like how did they let's just say how did we get here? How do we get to the place where there's too many agents and like brokerages will take anybody as long as you got blood in your veins? Come on down, pay the fees, right? Most agents. So what happened? Like why are we here? What's going on?
Well, I don't know if we could ever change it, but entry is way too easy. Entry into the game is way too easy. There's not a degree that's required. It's just running through some courses. It is getting more difficult. They are talking about creating a degree to get your license, but then it's a free market, which is really what capitalism is. And I guess we're all for capitalism. So how do you change that, or how do you control that? I mean, there's no limited number of doctors available. There's no limit on accountants. There's no limit on lawyers. yet somehow they've figured out a way to do it differently. But I think it's just the entry is so easy. Like to become a doctor, a lawyer, accountant takes, you know, what is it, 8 to 10 years in most cases.
Yeah, it's a great point. Like even if it was a 4-year degree or even a 2-year, like right now, someone just called me and they're like, "Hey man, I want some coaching." I said, "Okay, cool." He's like, "I'm just getting my license." And unfortunately, he lost his restaurant in COVID, so he's sitting there going, "I'll become an agent."
Hmm.
But he's just getting his license. He goes, "Okay, great. I'll be back in 10 months. I'll be back to sign up to your program 10 weeks." From a restaurant owner to an agent in 10 weeks. It's like, but the problem too, Randy, is that what we learn in the schooling is not about real estate. It's all about it's like the one class they need, and all the other classes are like, forget about it. Like marketing, human communication, how to set up your taxes, how to like actually understand how to put your what is marketing, like what is branding versus sales, how to do sales, how to communicate and how to structure things. It's just not there, right?
Right. And I'm not sure I'd be a real estate agent if that was the requirements today.
Me too. Me too. I get it. I get it. So that's the other thing, that some of the top guys aren't good in education either. So it's
Yeah.
definitely an interesting debate.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Randy, I like to always turn the show around.
Okay.
And the end, as we kind of wrap our shows, and probably because no one else is listening at this point. If they are, they must really like us. But I would say to my guest, ask me a question. If you had to turn it around to ask me a question, any questions, and I'm wide open. I can take a hit, and I can take a challenge. I can take any question. I always like to turn it around for the guest to hit me.
Mm. Okay, it's my turn to ask you a question.
Ask me one question.
Uh, if you're a scratch and sniff sticker. No, I can't use that one.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You heard that one.
I've heard you use that one. Let's see. What would be a great question? Building a team. Okay, is this personal or is this about business?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't
Okay.
matter.
In building a team, what is maybe the one secret sauce? If you could give somebody one secret sauce tip or one silver bullet tip to building a team, what would it be?
Hard with that. It's a silver bullet because it's a hard one, as you know. I think
Yeah.
here's the thing. There's so much context needed, right?
Yes.
In answering that context of like, what's their goals? What are they doing? But team wise, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is the right person on the team. You have the right person, it changes everything. You can have 10 or 20 duds. Like you need to have the right person. Like there's some kind of thing about who's on your team matters. Like I'd have my point of entry tough. And I want the right person on the team. And that right person needs to be defined. That's for me though. So I'd match them with people that want to build a life. The way we built our team was we actually got them to sign a contract that said, we go the extra mile and the extra mile after that. No matter what happens, we'll work harder and longer than anybody else. But we have a rule on this team, nobody burns out. And what that means is you're forced to take holidays and we will take care of all your business while you're gone. We had that in our contracts. We set that culture. The day you come in, you're going to go away. So we said, go away as many times as you want, as long as you can talk to someone on the team to take care of your stuff. So I created a lifestyle brand on that. And so having the right person on the team, I like someone that has a little bit of charisma. You can't create charisma, so it's a limited edition. If not, then it's a bit slower and it's harder. Those are really tactical on building the right team. The other part of it, is on a team, you think of retention, right? Because you invest so much into that. And how do you keep someone? That's human development. We talked about that. It's like, so I would be there to help change their lives. And I don't know the 100% answer, but what I do know is that it comes from the top. I guarantee you, if I'm building a team, I'm going to be, okay. So here's the thing. The leader needs to level up their self-awareness, their inner confidence, this is the inner game. As I think if anyone wants to start a team, I would go dive into personal development and
Right.
truly grow yourself as a human. You'll attract better team members. They'll want to work for you. I just think that's an abstract answer.
Yeah. I like it. I like it.
Awesome, Randy.
And I love it that, you're saying, it is about leadership, but I think it can be leadership from the bottom as well. So some of your hires, you can see leadership quality in them. They may not be a successful agent at this point, but they've got leadership qualities.
Yeah.
I think of the people on my team right now. There's agents on my team that have amazing leadership qualities, but they still haven't succeeded, in a great big way in real estate, but yet they're bringing leadership to the team from the bottom up.
And so what I'm hearing you say is that they're on the team and they feel valued. And
Yes.
the grading system you're using is not on transactions fully. That there's
Yes.
other, and that's the richest real estate agent idea, is that there's other grading systems than just money.
Yeah.
And so that to be on your team, that would be that's where culture comes in. Like sounds like you're seeing their value, which is a huge deal.
Mhm.
Huge deal. You don't build a team by buying a lead gen site and taking 50-50 and saying good luck.
No,
And
that sounds like hell.
it's terrible. I remember, I think the best team, like when I had my team, it went really well. And I know you're similar. We're talking team real quick. Is I would build the best administrative system there is before buying a buyer's agent second.
Yep.
And that's the biggest advice I always give. They're like, oh, Ben, I need help getting a buyer's agent. I said, great. How's your operations? What do you mean? I do it all. That guy's not in. You're like, you get an assistant, put in some basic systems. So a little bit of long game, a little bit of operations, get your paperwork off your plate, put in a birthday system, do some basic stuff. So then when a buyer's agent comes in, they're plugged into your business, not your hustle.
Yeah.
You want them plugged into your business, not just because you're just going to go out and sell. So I think putting in administrative systems, probably if I was to say starting a team, if you don't have that, that's your first step. Offer admin, offer feedback, offer finding. Didn't you just hire someone that's going to be what did you call them again? World-class experience person or
Wow consultant.
a wow consultant. And so now if I joined your team, I would get a wow consultant, Randy. Is that how this is going to work? See, now you have value to give me as a buyer's agent.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? It's like, hey, why do I want to join your team? We have a freaking wow consultant. Oh, and we're going to do your paperwork. And we're going to give you some leads. We're going to give you support. We're also going to pay for some coaching. We're also going to you
And
have
we're gonna
something.
love you.
And we're going to love you. And you're going to be valued, right?
Yeah.
Going to be.
Okay, I have a fun question. Do we have time for a fun question?
Let's do
Okay,
it.
so you have an opportunity to take your son to hockey.
Okay.
You have an opportunity to take your wife out for dinner.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity to coach somebody.
Yeah.
Or just go on a walk by yourself. What order are you putting those in?
Okay, so dead truth.
Yeah.
I do them anytime. I put any one of them in front of any one of them. Here's why.
Okay.
Because when you're secure with your wife, I can go do a coaching call. When I'm confident as a father, I can send my son with someone else to get a joyride or a carpool to a hockey game. If I want to walk, I go for a walk. I let everyone down. And so I don't have a priority set. And so if the relationship's in good shape, it's not going to be an issue if I put my wife second because she knows she's first.
Great answer. Great answer. Love it.
Well, Randy, great question though. Great question. Let's wrap it there, man. It's been wonderful having you on the show. Honestly, I'm excited about building our relationship together. Cool to be able to see on the inside of your world. And I think many people would be pretty impressed to see what I'm seeing. So thanks for being on the show, man.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the whole episode. I just want to remind you, realestaterebootcamp.com. This is a place where we're really transforming hustlers into business owners, a place where we're actually designing your life and finding the business model and the style of business that actually is going to serve the life that you want, helping you get really clear on what makes you happy versus just chasing the next deal. That is tiring. It's going to cost relationships. Check it out, realestaterebootcamp.com. Let's chat.